Hi everyone, this is Rihanna from A Frugal Life, and today we're going to be talking about saving an emergency fund even if you're on a low income. Did you know that 70% of Americans have less than $1,000 in their savings account? And 40% of Americans are one paycheck away from financial destitution. That means if they were to lose their job tomorrow, they'd have no place to live within maybe like a month. Typically, the amount that people recommend for an emergency fund is 1 to 6 months worth of expenses. And I know if you're on a low income, this seems almost unattainable. But having $1,000 in the bank, or even $500 to start out with, is actually a nice amount that can get you through a small emergency or help you through a small job loss. Think about it, $1,000 could pay for a car repair, it could pay for an emergency room visit, it could pay for something bad that happens to your house or to a pet. $1,000 is a good chunk of change towards an emergency situation. We're talk about a few things you can do to save money and an emergency fund style. So there's two different types of savings. There's the savings you do all the time, especially if you have enough money that you can put aside a certain amount each month and continue to save a long time. But there's also the kind of saving you do that's just to save up a big chunk at once for something special, or in this case for an emergency fund to set aside if something bad happens. So I do have a card up above to link to my other savings video, and that's actually going to tell you how to save money long term and some things you can do to save all of the time. This video is going to focus on temporary big savings that you can do to save a big chunk of emergency change, where to put it, and then what you can do afterwards to get back to normal. So the first thing you want to do is set a budget, and setting a budget, especially if you're on a low income or a lower income, is really scary sometimes because you feel like you don't have enough money to cover everything and you just don't want to look at the big picture. But setting a budget right now is important so you know how much you have to spend, how much you have on bills, and what you can possibly cut for at least a little bit amount of time so you can put some money in the bank to save. Number two, we're going to talk about the sacrifice of cutting things out of your budget. Once you've determined what you have in the bank, what you get for every paycheck, and then what you spend on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis, you can go through those items and determine what you can cut out. So some of the things you can think about cutting out for just a month to 3 months would be cable, cutting down your cell phone plan for a short amount of time. Sometimes you can put these things on pause. If you call and tell me you're having a hardship, you could pause things for just 1 month so that you could put that money aside in a savings account. Cable companies do it all the time. Sometimes even car payment companies will allow you to skip 1 month at least once a year, tack that on to the end of the loan, and you could put that whole car payment aside in an emergency fund. I know it seems a little counterproductive, but actually having the amount in cash is going to really do you some good if you have a big emergency come up. And again, don't think of these things as permanent changes. If you think of them as permanent changes, they're going to seem more of a hardship and they're going to be really hard to cut out. If you think of them as temporary changes that you're just going to do for 1 to 3 months, then it feels easier to cut them out of your budget. And if you find out you didn't miss them at all, you can just leave them out of your budget and continue to save that money. Number 3 is going to be adding income. So if you feel like there is not one single thing you can cut from your budget, if you're really feeling strapped at the end of every paycheck, the other alternative is to actually add some money. And even if you have to work 12-hour days, 7 days a week for an entire month, adding some extra income, it'll really make a difference in the long run. So think about sacrificing those hours to get some money in the bank. There are numerous things you can do as side hustles. You don't have to take a part-time job, you can just work a side hustle. So there are things like DoorDash and delivering packages, delivering people in Uber or Lyft, or if you want to work from home, I have some work from home ideas up above. You can actually do many things from home that will put some extra income in your pocket, and then take that income and put it right into a savings account. So the fourth thing we're going to talk about is selling items around your home. So I want you to go through everything, go room to room, go through books, go through clothes, go through toys, go through dishes, appliances, anything that you haven't used in a year. You can do many things with even the smallest items. Small items that aren't worth a lot can be sold in a garage sale. They can be bundled into lots and sold on Facebook ads or Craigslist. Although Craigslist is a little out of date, I would suggest Facebook ads. But if you just have things like books, like these books books on these bookshelves up above, I could bundle 10 of those into a bundle and sell them on Facebook ads really easily. So if you don't have the place for a garage sale, you can bundle smaller items and sell them. You can sell clothes, even non-name brand clothes in bundles on Poshmark and eBay. You can sell appliances that you don't use, toys that you don't use. Lots of things can be sold over the month to 3 months time to save up a few more $100 in that emergency fund. So now you've made some extra income with a couple $100. You've cut things out of your budget for a couple $100. You've sold a couple $100 worth of things. If you followed all of these guidelines, you could be well into $600 or $800 into that emergency fund so far. Next, we're going to talk about subscriptions and bills. You can cut your bills drastically. Like I talked about, you can skip some bills like car payments or sometimes cable bills. You can go through and cut out subscriptions, cut out Netflix for an entire month, cut out Hulu for an entire month, cut out any box subscriptions you receive in the mail, cut out things for the kids like an entire month's worth of dance classes or cheerleading. The kids can sacrifice a little bit for that emergency fund too, and especially if you tell them it's a temporary basis and you'll go right back to it the next month or the next 3 months. We're just gonna fill up that emergency fund and then we can go back to normal. We're just gonna fill up that emergency fund and then go back to normal if it's hurting. So the last thing I wanna talk about is what to do with that money. So I suggest starting a separate savings or bank account entirely in order to put your emergency fund in. You don't want it to be too accessible. So I suggest Acorns or Chime if you don't have a secondary account already. Chime is this great online bank account that allows you to save money with a good interest rate, and it's easy to automate savings right into that account. Acorns has the roundup feature, and I find that the roundup feature is so easy to save. So even if I don't feel like I can put money aside, like an extra $100 or $200, it always feels like it's okay to put away the change from each transaction. So if my transaction was $12.50, Acorns Roundup will round it up to 13 and put that 50 cents away for me. So Roundup is something that you don't even notice when you're out spending, and it just allows you to save a little bit more each month. So take all of that money that you've saved up with all these different methods, round up your change as well, put it into a separate bank account, and you'll get going on that savings plan in no time. So comment down below about what you do to save money. I'm also going to put my subscribe button up above. Please click the subscribe button and the notification bell so you can find out what next video I have coming up. I will put some videos over here and over here that you might want to watch next. If you have any questions or comments, put them down below or join our Facebook group.